Hey everyone. So I have a question for you to ponder. How plugged into this reality are you? In my previous video, I hypothesized about living in a simulation, but now I want to dig in a little bit and talk about our perception of it. See, our perception of reality is crucial in how we function within it. The way we choose to see it is what ultimately plays into our role within it. So let me ask you a few questions first. Do you feel like you're a person who gets the wool pulled over your eyes easily? Like, are you gullible, or do you see things for what they are? Now, if you are seeing them for what they are, what's your focus set on? Are you seeing what's on the surface or what's underneath the surface? So with those questions in mind, let's just look at an example. Let's say you have a boss who threatens to let you go if you don't do a certain task he requests. But let's also say that his expectations are not reasonable or even legal grounds for termination. However, you may be concerned about where your next meal will come from if you lose this job. Also, his manner and demeanor are threatening and aggressive, so that plays into what you're feeling and how you're feeling. Okay, so now that we've painted that little scenario, let's say the gullible person believes that they can lose their job and therefore complies with their boss's demands. This person doesn't believe that they have any other option or doesn't question the validity of their boss's threats. However, the person who sees things on the surface might know that what the boss is saying is BS and feels that he's being a total asshole. And nevertheless, this person may not want to call out their boss and take the chance of upsetting him even further, which would most likely put a target on their back and ultimately lead to their termination. Now, the person who sees things below the surface would most likely feel everything the first two people did. However, they may see that below the exterior and front that the boss is putting up, there is a deeply troubled man, a person who also has fears and concerns, who doesn't know how to manage others appropriately, and who may be suffering from unseen causes that we can never understand or see ourselves. They will also understand that even though this job is important to them, they have other options and do not actually have to put up with the abuse that their boss is dishing out. Okay, so why do I paint such a picture? What is the point that I'm trying to make? Well, if we can pull back the lens and instead let our boss represent society as a whole, or even better yet, as reality itself, then we can replay the scenario of the three different perspectives and how they may function within this reality. I'll let you play that in your own head.
A few moments later.
Okay, so now that we've done that, I have a few more questions for you. How do you actually see the world, our society, and our reality? Do you believe everything you see or are told? Do you see that there are issues our world is facing? Do you see how there are insidious forces at play that don't want you to see the truth? Do you see that this life is only a temporary play on a much bigger stage? Do you see that our reality is only a piece of a much larger puzzle? And do you see that there's more than just what you see? Okay, so now going back to the idea of living in a simulation. When I look around, I see a lot of people who have adopted everything within this reality. In other words, they are totally assimilated into it. They believe so deeply and profoundly that they are what they believe they are, that they've committed themselves entirely to the label they've placed upon themselves. Even worse, they believe the label that others have placed upon them. They've not only been blinded by the influence of our society, but have also been blinded by the shroud they've placed before their own eyes. How may you ask, is this possible for us to blind ourselves? Well, it's easy. Our perception is what makes up our reality. Therefore, we are living in the matrix of our own design, individually and as a society. Our combined perception creates the reality that we are all plugged into. So then, what do we do about it? We start to look below the surface and we begin to wake up to what is real. We also don't fool ourselves into believing that we can be plugged back into the matrix. we cannot unsee the truth. So we begin to reshape our personal and societal reality so that we no longer allow the wool to be pulled over our eyes. This way we never have to swallow the shit that's been fed to us again. Ultimately, we get to the core and dig out the rot so that we can begin the healing process. So where do we start? As I always say, start with yourself first. But whatever you do, don't stop there. Keep going. When you tap into the core of who you truly are, you will find a deep knowing. This will guide you on your journey. All right, everyone. That's enough for today. We'll talk soon. Peace.